We are back for a deep winter session. It is end of January here in West Pennant. Don't let the sunny skies fool you. It is extremely cold out right now, minus 12 degrees Celsius, and double that again with the wind chill. We have 70-kilometer gusts coming from the northwest. As the saying goes, frostbite in January, amputation in July. Definitely going to want to avoid that. So I have two goals today, essentially. Number one, to basically just survive out here. And then number two, touch rock. If I can successfully warm up and have a couple of goes, that's going to be a successful session on a day like today. The name of the game today will be staying as active as possible to keep the core temperature up. That's how this stays pleasant. And so with that in mind, let's get this going. So the question that comes up is, why go out on a day like today? This seems crazy. And the answer is, there's actually quite a few reasons. I didn't always do this. I used to retreat indoors and climb in the gym during the winter time. But what I found is seasons when I retreated into the gym where things were warm and comfortable, when I ventured outside in the spring, my season would be so much worse than if I had have climbed through the winter time. I think that's for a few reasons. One is that it takes about a month to get good skin for this particular rock type. You want to be climbing regularly on these crystals for a solid month before this primo season hits. Number two, this is a really rough section of trail. Woo. Reason number two is that I found my mental fortitude for climbing in the cold weather, which is necessary to hit those primo days and have those best goes, was much higher when I climbed through the wintertime. Everybody can relate to this, I think, where you'll have a 5-degree day in April and it feels amazing. It's t-shirt weather. You think that you're ready for the beach. That 5-degree day, if it came in September towards the end of the summertime, it would feel austere and miserable, and being out on the rock and bouldering just magnifies that effect. All right, we're getting to the point where things get real. I'm not going to have any tracks to follow, so it's going to get a lot more difficult. So where we're coming up here now is called Hospital Hill. If they find my frozen remains, I'll be stuffed in a tauntaun, trying to stay warm. Out here probably would be a moose, maybe. And then finally, the final reason is that it sort of depends on the level you're at in your climbing. Oh, this is beautiful in the fresh snow, hey? If you're a beginner or an intermediate, say up until about V10, the gym climbing is going to translate pretty well. But what happens when you get super specialized, you push into the top tier difficulty of any climbing style, is that if you want to perform at your highest level, you need to be practicing what you plan on doing. And so if I want to be executing on my projects in the spring at the highest level I possibly can, then there's only one way to practice that. There is no substitute. You have to be out here grinding on the exact same style, because it does not translate. Nothing else translates. It takes a month or two. Everyone will say that when they climb indoors, and then it takes a month or two for the gains to start translating to the new outdoor style. Views up here are spectacular. It is seriously cold. We're getting the full force of those 70-kilometer winds with no shelter at all. But the views are worth it. All right, that's as far as I can get on the bike. I'm pretty psyched though. Made it all the way in. The snow was pretty reasonable today. Got to do the last little bit of the approach on foot, then set up the sesh, and then get warmed up. So, like I said, Got to keep moving. The name of the game is high output. It is very cold up here. It'll be a lot better once we drop down and get out of this north wind. So let's get at it. All right, we're doing the last few meters of the approach. So we're dropping into the valley where it is sheltered. The wind just disappears and the conditions get 10 degrees warmer. You are better off being out here in -10, protected from the wind, than coming out on a 2 or 3 degree day, but being exposed to that wind. It makes such a difference. People often remark winter sort of feels long and depressing and gets them down, but honestly, when you're out here doing this, winter flies by and it's a lot of fun. So if you find you're the kind of person who doesn't like the winter season, I would just say get out there and work the proj, and you'll be surprised. I'm usually sad when winter's over because every season has its character, and there are things to like about these sessions too. So here we are at the proj. Yeah, she's pretty dry, so upper slab not too bad, and down inside the cave, no icicles. That's a good sign. I'm gonna work the low moves anyway, deep down in there. So yeah, I think it's gonna happen. So gonna get set up, and then the hard part. Doggy sleeping bag. Gotta look after Piper, right, baby? Extra clothing if needed. Propane, heat gun, down booties, leg warmer. I don't know how it happens to me, but all of my wintertime projects end up having knee bars on them. Oftentimes, if you're struggling, I have to drop down to shorts, and so leg warmer. Pastry, a warm bottle of water. I've been doing these deep winter sessions now for a decade at least, and they've evolved over time. So in the original days, all we had was a puffy jacket and the down booties. The next thing that I added was a variety of propane heaters. Started with the Mr. Buddy, but they're not as good as the tank top style that I got here today. The heat gun was the next addition, and then finally the ice fishing shelter. So someday I hope to be doming over the entire boulder and terraforming the session into ideal conditions. But until then, this is I think this is the ultimate setup. The way this is going to work today is that I'm going to set up the ice fishing shelter right here, just in front of my pad setup where I want to be moving. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend most of my time inside the shelter. When it's time for a go, I'll crawl out, do a go, and then right back into the shelter to be warming up. So my first goal for the session is complete. I've made it here safely. I'm all set up, ready to start on my second goal, which is to pull on this rock climb and do something productive. The hardest part of the entire session is going to be getting warmed up. Those initial goes, the rock is searingly cold. It's -11 right now, but this rock is in a cave. It's had no sunlight. We've had a week of double-digit minus temperatures overnight, so the rock is significantly colder than -11 still. It's going to be searing pain to touch it, and it's always worse on the warm-up. Once you get going, you can usually tolerate it long enough to do at least a move or two. My goal is to work the beginning of this climb. In the summertime, I figured out the end crux sequence, so it's possibly a viable project for me, but I need to refine these beginning moves into that end sequence and reduce the difficulty to the point where it seems viable. So that's the goal today. Welcome to the warm-up tent. So inside the tent, we have two cozy dogs, Stella and Piper. On days like today, they just go straight under the sleeping bag and pretty well stay there. They're very active dogs, but they don't have a lot of fur. Heater is here. The opening move of this climb starts low on this flake and 3 massive bumps out this roof sequence. When I'm not warmed up and in these cold temperatures, there's a 0% chance I can do even the first bump, but it's not that bad with more reasonable conditions. It's absolutely savage at the moment. Yeah, okay. Oh, goodness. All right, the name of the game is I'm gonna pull on, oh, oh, take what I can take, crawl into my warm-up hut, warm up hands and feet, and then immediately come back out for another go. So rapid fire succession. That's the game plan. The number one thing that I warm is my feet. On cold days like today, hands can get cold and then they very quickly warm back up. But if your feet go all the way numb, it can take a very long time, and sometimes they won't come back until you're at home and you're warm. So I stay on the feet. I'm a lot more proactive because feet are what limits sessions on cold days. So keep the feet warm and the sesh can carry on. Ah! Ouch. Ouch, 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 ouch. Ouch. Oh no. Oh, it is so hard in the cold. No knee bar pad. I'm just gonna pull on the move that I plan on working once I'm warmed up, just to warm up the biceps. Okay. Woo! Doesn't feel too bad. The hands are burning with pain, but all right. Time for the knee bar pad. That's what I came for. So put the knee bar pad on. That means I'm gonna drop some pants, drop some layers, get the knee bar pad on, and start working that move. Warm up time. Oh. So my Wiesla is back from her exploration. Wrangling 2 Wieslas and a propane heater inside of a plastic tent is definitely a skill. There's some risk involved. Here's the other one. So the goal for today is double undercling here, knee bar on the roof, and then bump to here. That's it. If I can refine that, I have some options. I have a couple of ideas after the last session. I want to explore the sort of search space around this idea, see if I can refine this movement. If I could do that today, I'd be psyched. Oh, no. Interesting. All right, that's progress. The knee bar stuck. It just slid over my pants. So the other times the knee bar wasn't grabbing. So it's interesting. It's not what you'd think. So there's a horn here that protrudes, and I was thinking that I want to try and engage my knee bar on that, but actually if I go a little bit out the cave towards my upper hand, it sticks a bit better. So I'll try it again a couple of times with the pants on. If I can't get it to work with pants and it seems like it's a knee bar slide issue, then that's an unfortunate situation because it means that I've got to drop down to shorts, which I don't want to do for obvious reasons, but that's what I'm here for. So back into the warm-up shelter, hands and feet, back out, repeat. Keep the energy moving. The dogs went for a little adventure, but they have settled in again under their blanket. Settling 2 pretty large sized dogs under the same sleeping bag is definitely an advanced maneuver. Is probably harder than the crux on this V13 rock climb. So pretty happy that got him nicely settled here today, because as I said at the start, unhappy dogs equals unhappy session, and right now we have 2 very happy dogs. less good. There's a lot of parameters to vary. So left and right feet placement on the roof, body position, and then finally knee bar placement on the rail. So each one of those factors, there's multiple options. And so you start multiplying the options and you get a pretty vast search space for just this one move. So I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to change the low foot. Oh, fuck. I just did it, and it was easy. Okay, crazy. Oh, wow. Wow. That was totally easy. I did a whole session just for that move previously, a couple of days ago, and it felt impossible. And I mean, the unlock like that, just unbelievable. That's what happens. So yeah, sick. That's progress. So today's session is a overwhelming success because that's the only move on the climb that I don't have a plausible from the start sort of beta where the difficulty is in the zone where, you know, I could start thinking about sengos. So what can happen before we get too excited is that I've had this happen before where I get the unlock, I do the move, feels easy, which it did, but I don't really understand what I did. You get lucky, and then it takes multiple rehearsals to sort of find it again and truly understand it. So, but now I know it's possible, so it doesn't matter. I can regress and not be able to do that for 3 straight sessions, and it's okay. I've been there before. I know now that it's possible for that move to feel easy, and so with enough rehearsal, I should be able to get to that point where that move is just not a concern for on a sengo. So, awesome! What a cool move, though, right? 2 feet pasted on the roof, and you know, a knee bar, and there's another one of those further out. So two roof knee bars on this one climb. Spectacular. Awesome. 2 in a row. 2 in a row. It might not be a fluke. I might understand this move. Awesome. Okay, well, my toes are going numb, as I've talked about. Can't let the toes go numb, gotta stay on that. If the toes go all the way, then the session could be over. So I gotta run in the tent, get the toes back, and come back out and keep working this. But super duper exciting. Totally worth coming out today. Assuming that come July, I still have my toes. The way the climbing gods work, I've had a great success, and when I hop back on for my next go, it's going to feel impossible. So that's okay. Okay. It was sticking good, but bad knee bar pad slide that time. So I gotta figure it out. I'm dialing it in. It's not. I don't have it mastered yet. That's not surprising. No. I tried the lower foot there, and now that I understand the knee bar a bit better, I could do it. But what happens with the low foot is that I'm unable to drive the knee as forcefully into the rail. As I was saying on the way in, what I've accomplished today, I just couldn't substitute any other way. I got my skin conditioned on the harsh outdoor holds, worked on my cold tolerance and mental fortitude for hard climbing in hard conditions. And finally, I've worked movement here that improves me overall as a climber on this style of granite. You are not going to find that move indoors ever, anywhere. It's simply impossible. So to work that kind of nuance where you literally have a delicate, smeary roof knee bar that takes multiple sessions to sort of learn. You're not going to get that anywhere but right here where we are. And so there's no substitute. And yeah, so all around, it's been a great sesh. Now, what I will do is just keep trying things, usually until it gets cold and miserable. Past the point I long should have stopped. As usual, I got sucked in at the project longer than I wanted to. Here we are, sun is down, last couple of rays over the horizon. It is getting even colder, so we got to get out of here. After a day like today, we are always very happy to see the car.